Good everyone, not the cleanest day in the market. Started red with 2 trades that didn't work out and then had to dig my way back. I traded OBIO and GELS today, made some mistakes early on but stuck with it and ended up closing the day green with $7 profit. So let's break down what went right, what went wrong and the key takeaways from day 35. So I'll bring out the chart here. When I got up this morning, GELS was the leading gapper. I saw it around this area here. It already made a high of $6.13, $6.14, and it was sort of grinding back up. Didn't really like this grinding up. It pulled back again. It was sort of on the back side of this move. It had this big red candle, jackknife candle here. That didn't look too appealing to me, so I didn't actually take a trade on this. MACD was closed as well on this. If I bring this down a wee bit, you can see better. And I'll just zoom in on this a bit more. Yeah, so you could have possibly taken a trade in here looking to get in either on this low or the break there, but it broke pretty quickly and then pushed up to 595 and then flushed that whole move all the way back down, and then it just faded pretty much for the rest of pre-market. So GELS wasn't a stock that I took a trade on in pre-market. The other stock that was sort of on my scanner was HOLO. This one was pre-market around 6.45, so low volume, higher, wider spreads, and a bit more expensive at over $15. So I didn't take any trades on this. This sort of wasn't really a stock that I could trade. It was sort of higher risk. It did pop up here through VWAP, and I did see this break. I saw it had broken over. I had an alarm set on it, so it triggered around, I think it was 5:15.70 or something like that. So I managed to see this break and had the opportunity to buy in here at $16. I think it was $16 on the ask and around, I think it was $15.80, around $15.80, $15.70 something on the bid off the top of my head. But that was just too much risk for me. If it rejected and came all the way back down, then I'm already down 20 odd cents a share. So I didn't take that. It did push up to 19.90 eventually, and a nice first push up to 17. So, in hindsight, could have made a bit of profit on this trade here, but just too high risk for me. I couldn't trust it. The other one that was on the scanner as well, which was cheaper stock, was WNW. And this did sort of push up and grind just after 7 o'clock, hit a break. It was under $2 here, so I didn't look at it. I thought it was a bit cheap. It did break above $2 and then pushed up to a high of $2.74, but I'd sort of written it off down here. Did see that it had broken, but still didn't look at taking a trade on it. Had some decent pullbacks here. Might have been quite clean, but yeah, I didn't trade that. The first trade I took, or the first stock I looked at was OBIO. And OBIO popped up around here on when WNW was sort of pulling back down to $2 again. And if I bring up OBIO, so this popped up here just after I saw it around this area here, around 7.18. And So it had lots of topping tails. It sort of popped up, pulled back, sort of almost reclaimed that whole move, and then started pushing back through the VWAP. But as soon as it was breaking VWAP, it was just pulling right back again. You can see these topping tails on the chart here, these two here mainly, and then a red candle. So it wasn't holding up. There's a bit of selling pressure on this. And even again, once it pushed up to VWAP, it's topping tails here. So definite selling pressure around that 370 mark, 360. And I took my trade in here. So I got in on that red candle at 402 as it pulled back, and I missed my exit up here at 420. I was looking for an exit around 430 or late 428, 427, somewhere around there. Didn't reach that, and it did reach my minimum, 15 cents a share up around 420. So I could have taken it there, but didn't take it off the table there. And then it eventually pulled back, and I stopped out at 15 cents. So it was down $15 after that trade. So I might bring up a video, and I just rewind this. So this is kind of something I need to work on as well. Probably the better entry here was here, when it broke over 370, and there was a slight pullback there as it broke over. Actually, let's double the speed, that's why it's so fast. So as it came up here to 360, 370 and broke over 365, the volume's increasing gradually here, but I think it's in this next candle. So this is what I need to get better at. I need to get better at entries when it breaks the pivot point and volume is coming in. So as it comes up here to 365 and breaks there at 365, 366, and now the volume's coming in, but this is where I need to get better at buying in. Like, it's still not quite here, but now the volume's sort of breaking in. This is sort of where you want to enter, and it sort of pulls back down to 370, and that's an entry there on the 10-second chart, and pushing up now over 370 to break 382, and it's broken through there, and you know, that's sort of the entry, 370, and now pushing up, and now you're looking at taking yeah, and you know, you're looking at taking profit here around $4. That's sort of the trade that I want to get better at, is these entries on the breaks of pivots. So when there's a slight micro pullback on the 10-second chart, and then a push higher, and taking that trade instead of waiting for. And I was a bit early on this trade, really. If I speed it up now, really I'm looking at where I think it will have support. So support will possibly be around the whole dollar or just below. So I put an order in there at 402 to get filled, and I was kind of hoping the volume would come back in on the green side and it would push higher straight away. It didn't, it pulled back. And I probably should have realized there was more selling pressure on this. So even though the volume came in on the green side as it broke up, you know, with these topping tails down here, you know, it's probably right that it would pull back a bit further and have a bit more selling pressure. It did hold though. I could have waited and been more patient and maybe got a better entry, or at least an entry where it's actually showing a bit of green. And just the way it's moving, I should have realised that it wasn't going to go possibly very far. So yeah, I put an order in at 4.25, but then took that out. And I think I get into a bad habit of putting an order where I think it's going to go, instead of just using my hotkey to sell at the ask or sell on the bid. Because yeah, it's made the high there, a new high. It's not really getting any momentum. There's a decent red candle there, even though the greens are sort of a similar size. That's not really what you want to see. You want to see a red candle that's sort of stopping around this level for it to go higher. And both of these red candles are, you know, nearly as big or as big as the green candles. So yeah, should have really gotten out of this trade while I was still in profit, realizing that it wasn't going to go any further. But I didn't. I held, and on this trade at least, once I gave it a chance to rally again, looking for my 10 to 15 cents, and I get it again. And should have been out there, but now I'm looking at these bottoming tails going, oh well, it's being bought up, but comes down to 9 EMA again, and I think it doesn't hold now. It just, yeah, I think it puts in like 5 red candles and then sort of flushes down. So that was my trade on OBIO. Yeah, breaks through the 9 EMA, and I was like, nope, that's it. And I took my exit there and stopped out on the VWAP. So that was my first trade. Now I'm down $15. Yeah, probably missed a better entry as it broke through 370 or even over 380. It was a better entry, and out sooner. Second trade I took on was OBIO again, as it was rallying back up to VWAP. Oh, that was the HOLO. Yeah, but this is the trade here on OBIO. So they've broken up through VWAP. I missed the break here again. But if I hadn't actually looked at this properly, I saw it pop down here and I thought, oh, I'll buy the dip and it'll buy up and I can get out, you know, around maybe 387 or 390, somewhere around there. I thought it would dip and then buy back up. So I put a order in down here to grab the dip. It dips and it didn't pop. Like, it's sort of hovering there, and I think, oh yeah, but it didn't pop at all. And pretty quickly I realized that it's not going to go. And yeah, and it came back down, and instead of getting out here where I could have got out with less of a loss, because it's still within, you know, my stop loss limit there, but it's definitely not looking good. It's sort of buying back up here, but yeah, I think I was a bit optimistic thinking that it would rally back over VWAP. It's going to speed that up. And looking at the volume profile as well down here, I mean, the red's just as big as the green candles. It's sort of like a mirror image, so it's pretty much engulfed that whole green move, these two red candles. So really that should have been a good indicator that this trade wasn't going to work and I should be getting out before it flushes. So I was in there around 378 and I held it for a while actually. So I was going to speed it up again. So now it's dropped below my stop out. But I thought, well, there's support here around this area, so I'll just see if it holds and rallies. And it did rally. But the problem was is it rallied to about break even. I didn't take it off the table when I had the chance to get out break even, which is something else I need to work on, is when a trade's not working and it hasn't worked, then I need to just get out. You know, I should have a limit of how long I'm going to hold it for before I get out. Now I'm being really optimistic here, putting in a sell order up there. But this is the problem. It should be getting out here. Like it's break even, you know, and that's sort of where I should have gotten out. And now it's pulling back again. And I thought, oh, well, maybe it's pulling back and it'll push higher. But there's a doji candle there, which shows indecision really between buyers and sellers. And you know, the very next candle is red. And I'm being even more optimistic. Yeah, but the writing's pretty much on the wall. And possibly if I'd drawn some technical lines down there, there's probably a line that's coming down through here. So yeah, and then once it flushed down again, I realized, no, that's it. I think I need to get out of this trade. And I'm still thinking it'll come back up to VWAP. And yeah, I'm still holding it. Speed this up. Yeah, and there we go. That's right, I put a sell order out at 363 and I'm out on an uptick. This is GLS again, broke through VWAP, but just, yeah, didn't like the look of that. Not massive volume coming through there, and it had broken through before and then failed, and yeah, it pretty much did that again. I did think about taking a trade though, and possibly could have taken that trade from around 470 to 520. Actually wouldn't have been a bad trade, but I just didn't trust that then. Then TIVC popped up just after 8:30. I looked at taking a position around 871 and 850 initially here. Let's just back it up. Right, so I saw it pop up here. It was sort of holding up here, and I thought, well, if it pulls back below VWAP around, comes down to 850, maybe I'll look at taking it around there. I cancelled the order though, because then I was thinking, well, that's a pretty big red candle there. It's a bit of a doji, but yeah. But I missed my entry here for the pushback to 1090. Thought about getting in again, but really I was too late on that entry as well. Should have been in around here at around 880. It pushed eventually and then it broke. And like here is where, no, push play here. So this is where I should be getting in here as well. This break pivot point here, where it's breaking and then volume's coming in, and even getting in around the whole dollar, $10. Breaks over there. Looking for a pushback over 1090. Sorry. So on that pullback there, that would have been a good pullback to buy in on. Looking for that breakthrough over 1090, and even here in it, 10 and getting, 30, 40 cents a share, that would have been a good trade. But then volume comes in, breaks 1090. Oh, that's right. So I could buy down here initially, and I can still afford that stock, but at some point it got put on the margin restricted list for my platform, and I could no longer buy this. So even down here where I could buy before, I still couldn't buy. It would still reject my order for 100 shares. So once that broke over here, I couldn't trade it anyway. So this sort of got put off my list. Well, I got forced off my list really, because I couldn't trade this at all on my platform through my broker. So that was kind of annoying. But I guess a highly volatile stock. It moved quite a bit. It wasn't going to let me take any trades on it. So if I had a bigger account, probably I could have, but yeah. So I missed all of that with TIVC. Nice stock though. I think some people would have definitely, some traders would have definitely made some good profit on this stock. And then so I watched that, couldn't trade that, and then OBLG popped up. Here, OBLG popped up. I just couldn't get dialed in on this stock. So it popped up, sort of pulled back, came back to the VWAP, thought about taking some trades on it, but then pulled out and yeah. And then at the open, it just dumped. So I didn't take any trades on that. And then I was just looking for a stock, and I came back to GELS. GELS had dropped down to about $3 and had rallied back up to 4, and I thought, well, this might push back to VWAP. So this was not by any means a great trade. Lots of red candles, pretty decent sized red candles as well. So this trade was under VWAP as well. So not a great trade really when I think about it now. Looking at the chart, this is probably where you wanted to enter on the break here of that first green candle. Or on this pullback here, micro pullback here on this one. To get in for the break, I missed this entry here. So there's a bit of support along this line here, 340, and it's there's some previous support a little bit earlier on as well, and at the open. And it was pulling back down here, so I thought, well, I will see if I can get in on around the support and I will just, you know, take my exit on the pop. So that's what I thought I'd do, and that's pretty much what happened. So I saw it coming down to 340. I put an order in at 345, hit the buy button, got filled pretty much straight away, and was pretty much into profit straight away. So this is a bit faster. This is 2 times faster, obviously, but yeah. So good entry there on the dip. It did hold support. Buyers did come in, and it rallied back up to 370. So my target was around the top of that resistance candle, that red candle there, the topping tail. So I thought if it could reclaim some of that up to 380, I would take it around 380. It did push up to 382, and I took my exit pretty much straight away as it pushed up to over 380. So at least I had a clear plan of what I was going to do on this one. And as soon as I got to my target price, I took my exit. It did actually push a little bit further, pushed up to 387 very quickly. But yeah, that was pretty much it for GELS. I think it faded after that as well. So I was down $30, and with that trade I got 37 cents a share, so up 37. So yeah, difference, I was now up $7 profit on the day. So you can see here, day realized $7. The unrealized is because I got another trade that's been hanging over my head for months. But I won't go into that. Anyway, we come back down to my stats. We'll have a look. So 2 trades on OBIO, down 15 cents a share on each of those, so down to $30, but $37 on GELS brought me up to $7 profit. So looking at the month of April is not great, but I am getting a few green days now in a row. Not big green days, but at the moment that's not really that important. It's just getting those green days under my belt. We've got 7 green days versus 4 red days, but the 4 are obviously 3 of them are pretty big. So if I can keep plugging away getting green days for the rest of this month, I'll be happy with that. If I can get all green this week, then I might look at increasing my share size, just depending on how much, how big my green days are. And if I have any red days, I'll probably stay at 100 shares until the end of the month anyway. But we'll see how it goes, and hopefully I can, you know, stay on track to recover my drawdown. This is definitely not the fastest way to do it, but it's probably a bit safer than taking heaps of trades and trying to get big winners. But I think I just need to be better at my entries when volume's coming in, getting in when there's decent volume coming in and a decent push where I can get in and out pretty quickly with a decent profit. So that's sort of what I'm going to work on. Glad I was able to claw back from red and stick to the plan once I settled down. That bounce trade on GELS made the difference today. Still lots to work on, especially confidence on those high volume entries. But every session brings progress. If you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe and follow along as I build my way towards, you know, consistency and hopefully profitability. So see you in the next one. Hei a popo.